Alright, welcome back. So this is going to be a video that I'm going to be doing on actually modeling in Revit. Modeling in Revit is not as easy as it is in, say, SketchUp. And in the previous video I mentioned that you use what are called planes. So if you think about it in strictly a isometric sense, this wall is a plane, this floor is a plane. I don't even know if isometric is right. But basically you have a set of various planes that are here. And you can actually turn this on right here and it'll show you under the work plane option to toggle show work plane that we're actively using that as the work plane. And so I can change the work plane that we're using by going in here and doing that. So now the work plane I'm using is the face of this and anything that's parallel to it. So technically it could come way out here and I'd be working in that same place. All right. So anytime you're working with planes in Revit, just remember that you have to be cognizant of where the plane that you're working on is and how it's structured. And you can easily turn this on and off in order to work with that. So let's say that I wanted to do something a little bit crazy here. I have no idea what I'm even going to do. So I'm just going to start modeling something. For some reason, stairs or some sort of decorative thing right here makes sense to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do model in place. And it's going to ask me what category I want to add this to. I usually, unless it's very specific to something else, I usually just assign it as generic models. So I'm going to choose that for this one, and I'm going to hit OK. Let's do stairs. So we'll do decorative stairs. Okay. So next we have a couple options up here. Ignore this whole section right here. We're not really going to be using that. Most of the modeling that I do in Revit is using extrusions here. And there's a couple different types here. They kind of, if you hover over these, they kind of show their own little video. And I think a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not really going to go into detail on it, but you can see in this video, for example, they draw a hexagon and a circle and then it blends into the two. Extrusions are kind of the most basic step and it's kind of 90% of what I build. So I'll start by doing an extrusion here and you can see we've got some workspace. So in order to make this a little bit easier on myself, I'm going to snap to this plane of view because essentially we are working in a 2D space right now. And so again, like how we were drawing floors and ceilings and we can modify walls, this is working as a profile within Revit. So if I was to draw something like that, I can hit the green check mark here and we can see that a little stubby thing has been formed on the wall. So along with that, we also have these settings here that determine how this extrusion works. So currently it says extrusion end 1 foot, extrusion start 0. So it's going to start from this surface and draw out 1 foot. So right now, moving outward from the wall to the right here is going to be a 1 foot draw for that. So let me see if it'll let me copy this over. And this is one way that you can actually break extrusions too, is by actually, you can copy them and move them over from different planes of view. So I can actually move this down here. And it's going to actually see it's not associated with a work plane now. So you can kind of get it away from that sort of thing. Try not to do that initially while you're still learning. Anyway, so I was going to set this one to extrusion end at, let's do -2 feet. So it goes through the wall here. So as you can see, this one, it ends at -2 feet and it starts at 0, 0. So again, 0, 0 is the plane that is attached to the wall. And then to the left here is negative, to the right is positive. So again, -2 feet to 0. This one is 0 to 1 foot. So when you're working with these, again, you have to remember that the extrusion itself is going to be a fairly linear path when you're working with just extrusions. Now, does that mean that you can't do different things with them? Well, it's pretty easy to change your work plane. And so I can choose set right here, again, from the work plane menu. And I often go to pick a plane. And so I can do that, and I can choose, and you can see it changes as I highlight different faces here. So I can choose that as my work plane now. So now I'm working right here. and I can start drawing another extrusion. So let's do let's see, I want to draw a line down, there we go. Okay, so we'll use that as the base point for our extrusion. It's just a test line for me to, oh, what's reverse? Oh, did I just, what, center and arc? I always forget which one of these drawing tools does which. Oh, there we go, okay. Yeah, okay. I remember how this one works now. Okay, so we'll just draw this up again using kind of the same tools that we've drawn for other or used for other things. Now here we've got a dilemma, right? We've got this extrusion here, but if I hit the green check mark, it's just kind of going to go in the direction it wants. But you can usually grab this hand tool here, or the little arrow, and then drag it out there so that we can get it to snap up against that other spot right there. Now, if I was smart, what I would have done is just, if this is what I knew I was doing, I would have drawn that profile to begin with. But I kind of wanted to show how working with different faces can kind of, or you can change your drawing point and all that. So let me do a couple different things here. So for example, I can, let's see, let's revert it back to this point. Because what I want to show you guys is that the faces don't have to be set to like really strict. Oops, that screwed that one up. Really? So the faces don't have to be set to very strict things like X, Y, strict, strict cardinal directions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if I wanted to do something like this, I could then have my next face. I'll do that. Oh, I closed it too soon. There's a actual double thick menu here, or double deep menu, where when you're working inside of, or when you're working on a model, it is a set of extrusions, but then you modify each extrusion as its own thing too. So let's see. I wanted to change my work plane again. So now I'm going to choose this particular plane right here. And so you can see we're working with kind of an off, a skewed work plane here in this case. But this is something that I can work with. So if I wanted to draw something out from here, again, I would create an extrusion, and we'll use that. And then let's actually be fancy here and do, oh, let me actually finish this one. I'm too far into this one already. So we can do that for an extrusion, and then we could change our pick our new work plane right here. So then I mentioned that there were, oh, how off is that? I must have screwed something up there. Oh, they overlap. Anyway, so let's actually choose this plane up here just to kind of jump around. So I can set this plane as my new work surface. So I mentioned earlier there was the blend tool. So we would create two different shapes here. This one's a little bit weirder to work with. What you have to keep in mind is that there's this toggle button right here. So if I draw this extrusion, let's actually use the line tool because it'll not be weird on us. So I can draw that extrusion right there. Is that lined up right? That looks right. And then I can click Edit Top, and I can draw a different line. So let's do that. So as I toggle between these two, you can see it changes which shape is active. We can also set the end. So that's the end and start point, and it is based on which. Again, it's like the extrusion as before. So if I was to change this to say 2 feet, let's just make this kind of a weird shape. And you can see it's now got this weird extrusion that goes from the face out to there. So there are a couple different things you can do with this if you want to get like a weird undulating shape or something. So I'll finish that model for now. Um, so when you're working with these, think about different ways that you can kind of use a repeating pattern. Um, in the past, what I've had students do is actually build a small kind of outdoor patio and deck. So I might as well kind of just go over that real quick. So let's go to here on my level 1. Um, and component, model in place. Again, I'm just going to call this a generic model. And what we'll do is we'll start with an extrusion. Okay, yeah, those settings are fine. And then I want a small box right here. There we go. And then this will be a foot up. Actually, let's make it a little bit, that's fine. So then that'll be a foot up, and then I can continue inserting new extrusions here. I'll do a 1-inch offset. Oh, no, with this. And then spacebar to flip it to the other side. And then again, because this is going to start a foot off the ground, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change one of these numbers. So I'm going to set this to be 8 feet off the ground. So the first one started on the plane, so it went 0 to 1 foot. This is being drawn on the plane, but it's going to, and these numbers are kind of interchangeable. It's what's between them that counts. So this one is going to start drawing at 1 foot and end at 8 foot. So if you see in the 3D, you've got a very easy kind of pull thing real quick there. Now then, what I want to do to this next is change my work plane. So I would go to set, pick a plane. I'm going to choose that face right there. We'll snap to that in this view. And then I'm just going to create like a fancy little extrusion surface here. And let's actually, let me finish this part here. And then let's see if I can get this to work right. There we go. I feel like, that's fine. No, I don't like it. Let's see, which one is this? Start end radius, okay. It's start, end, radius. You know what I want? I want an extra little line right here. There we go. And then because this is only going to be, what was it, 7? I think it's 5 inches deep. So we'll just set this to 0, and we'll set this to 5 inches. Hit apply, check mark, and it looks like we actually just need to go the other way, so I'll just set this to 0, and this to, let's see, -5 inches, because we have to go behind the plane. And then let's actually set it offset 1 inch from each, so we'll do 5, and we'll do -1 inch. So that we have kind of like a nice little decorative thing right there. So then, let's see. I'm trying to remember if this is all we wanted. I think it was. So now I'm gonna actually, let's change our work plane back to the ground. This isn't necessary, it's just kind of me being OCD. And then we'll choose these 3 things right here, and we will do let's do an array. So to do an array, I haven't really discussed these. They're kind of like a unique thing that you only use a couple times. I'm going to set this out using this point of reference. I'm going to tell it needs to go 8 feet in this direction, and then it's going to give me the option of how many of these I want to create. In this case, let's do 4, and so it's going to automatically draw out the extras there, and then I'm going to hit ungroup, and now we have 4 of these little things, and that was probably too far. Let's do 4 feet actually. So again, back to array. I'm still going to use this corner down here. Oh, did it? It dropped me. Okay. Level 1, array, 5 foot. And let's do 3 of them. Okay. So we've got 3 of them right there. So ungroup them. Once that's done, I can select the lot of them. And let's do mirror. And which one do I want to do here? Let's do draw axis. Yeah. I'll just do what I usually do. Usually the easiest way is to just copy paste it. And then we'll rotate it. And then we'll just have to double check that these are aligned right. And all I'm going to do is just kind of bump this up here. They're not aligned perfectly though. We can fix that later on though. So, so that very quickly gets us these kind of overhangs right here. Next, we'll do an extrusion again. We will pick a plane. So in this case, I'm going to change my plane again back to this face right here. We can drag that out just to show that it's going to be that wide-ish. We'll snap back over here. And then this is not how this is properly built, it's how I'm going to build it right now. So we'll just do a 2x4 right here. Oops, what did I do? 1.5 feet, that's what I did. 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches. And so again, I can create an array of, oh actually I can't create an array of these. Not yet anyway. So, just for the sake of speed, I'm going to take this and, let's see, how far back do we need to go? Let's do negative 12, oh my god, where did I type it? Negative 12 feet. And we'll see what that does. And now at least we have handles here that I can see and snap right there. Same thing with the other direction here. We'll just grab the array tool and I'm going to space these every 4 inches and we'll do something crazy like 20. Yeah, and the right way I probably should have done this would have been to just draw a whole bunch of these in one, but I'm lazy. So we're going to do that. So that's some way you could build like a quick little shelter just using some of these default properties. If you think a little bit outside of the box, how you would build with SketchUp, just using profiles and extrusions, it's a lot of the same things. It's just a lot more tedious in Revit than it is in a lot of the other programs we use. So I'll hit Finish Model. Revit will get mad at me. I'm not going to save right now. So there's my little weird, like, whatever that is, that has no support for anything in the middle. So that's how you would do that. Is a base way to just kind of, as a basic way to build things here in Revit. A lot of the other stuff here is going to be stuff that you would rather just download, right? So there are a couple options. Sorry, there are a couple options in the, excuse me, in the past. One of the 2 sites that I would recommend, or one of the original sites that I would recommend, and I'll just throw their name in here, was I don't remember what it was. Wow, it's been so long. Oh, Revit City, I think it was. Let me double check that real quick. Okay, so this was one of the earlier sites that I would recommend. It is not, as far as I can tell, getting updated all that often. Um, and a lot of this is very bad, like 90s style, like navigation and everything. Um, and because it's not getting upgraded, there's not a lot of extra stuff. So usually when you, and then another problem is usually you load stuff from here into your new Revit, in our case 2023 Revit, and it was built in 2014 Revit, so it needs to update. The scale might be off, there's a bunch of problems with it. So usually you don't get as good of options from here, but there is more stuff here. So kind of take that with a huge warning that you can get stuff here, but it's not going to be that great. Okay, so this is the new site that I would highly recommend you guys work with. It is free to sign up here. There's a free sign up button. You can see that there's a bunch of different really nice looking models here. Not all of them, I believe, are for Revit, and I haven't logged in. Um, let's see if it's, yeah, I have to log in. I'm not going to do that right now. But let's see, let's do Revit, and we'll search for, let's say we want a bed. So the hospital bed, wow. So, and these are actually way better images than I remember them having a couple years back, but maybe it's just bad memory. Anyway, so you have a lot of different options here. Maybe you search for residential bed. Nope, still a lot of hospital equipment. Anyway, so there are different options here that Revit's going to have. Some of these things are sort of brand specific, so some manufacturers will build their stuff to sort of advertise it and slash hint that you should use it in your project. So take that as you will as well. So there are different options here. This is, I think, probably the best source that you're going to get as far as high quality good models. Um, so that is an option as well. Okay, and this is kind of the third and final option if you're looking to download things. So some manufacturers, like I was saying, do actually offer their own things on their own website. Some may or may not let you actually download it from their website without an account, but in this case, you can see Steelcase does let you download. Theirs are going to be 2019 and 2020 models, which may have some trouble importing, but should probably be fine. But you'll have access to these as well through their website. So if you are thinking of a specific manufacturer for a project, or in some, I think there's a couple lighting, like not a lot, but a couple lighting companies out there that do have Revit files available for download on their website. You can try checking a specific manufacturer's website as well. So those are kind of the three primary sources that I would recommend you guys getting Revit models from. Um, Mostly because those are the kind of the sites that I trust, and I don't know anyone who's gotten a virus from them yet. So yeah, just be careful of what you download off the internet. So yeah, that covers modeling and outside assets. See you guys in class.